everyone. So today we are testing out some new makeup products. Some of them are Drugstore, some of them are from Sephora. So if you're curious to see how they perform on my over 50 skin, stick around. So let's go ahead and get started. So I did two things off camera before we start this. I went in and I wanted to do a little bit of color correcting under my eyes for my dark circles. So I went in with the Clinique, the Even Better color corrector in the shade Peach. And you can see it does a nice job of covering up those dark circles. And then for my eyebrows, I went in with the Revlon, the Colorstay Micro Brow Pencil. I actually have been really enjoying this. The more I use it, the more I like it. It really does give those like really hair-like strokes. So far pleasantly surprised with it. Now, one of the new products that I came across in the store is the L'Oreal Prime Lab. This is a 24-hour pore minimizer. There was like 4 different types of the product, and what it claims, like when I actually went online to see kind of what it does, it's one of those products that you use over time and incorporate it into your skincare routine. You can use this just by itself after you put on your moisturizer, or you can use it under your foundation. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use it as like my primer today. So it says to give it a good shake. Just looks like that. So it said put it on with your fingers and then use a sponge to kind of set it into your skin. It does have like a little bit of a scent to it. It's more of like a floral scent. The other types that they have are, one is a dullness reducer, one is a matte setter, and one is a redness eraser. So I wanted the pore minimizer, but it's supposed to give you an instant blurring effect, smooth skin over time, suitable for all skin types and even sensitive skin, and it's paraben free. So far, I mean, I guess it looks a little bit blurred right here. I don't know, I'll put a little bit more on. Kind of said that's where I have my largest pores, is just kind of in this area here. And then I'm just going to take my e.l.f. sponge and set it in there. I like the added benefit of products when they enhance your skincare. So we'll see if this works. I don't know. I guess I'll have to give you an update on it, because this is my first time using it, so we'll see kind of what it does. Down in my description box, I will leave some comments down below, so how well it worked today. The foundation I'm using today, I am so happy I can finally show this back on my channel. I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory, and sorry, I'm trying not to make this like a long story, but just to give you a bit of history. So this foundation, let me first tell you what it is. It's the L'Oreal The True Match, the Super Blendable Foundation. It replaced the old, like if you're probably really familiar with this packaging here. This one here has been around forever. It was one of my holy grail foundations for years. I used this when, like, even my kids were little. I was using this. I would just, you know, like use it with my fingertips, put it on, wouldn't even use a sponge for it. Great foundation. Well, about 2 years ago, because I went back and looked when I made this video, or the video that I'm going to be talking about. It was 2 years ago. It was actually February of 2021. In Canada, we got the replacement for that old packaging. I'll show it over here. I'll put the thumbnail over here, and I'll also put it down in the description box if you haven't checked it out. It was, I did a comparison on the old version and the new version. Well, right after I created that video, in my comments, I was getting a bunch of my American viewers saying, hey, like, where can I find this? I'm just seeing the old packaging. And I'm like, uh-oh, I don't know. I thought it usually, I'm going to say usually, we are the last to get things here in Canada. The States usually always gets the product first when there's a new launch, and we always get it usually, you know, a few weeks or several months even after that. So I just went ahead and made the video. And it wasn't until then I started doing a little bit of digging, and I'm like, uh-oh, you guys you can't even get this new packaging yet, like the new formulation. So then I stopped showing it on my channel. I stopped showing it because I was getting so many people asking me where to find this. And I had no answers for you. I just kind of kept saying, I hope you get it soon, because I thought for sure you guys are going to get it for sure soon. So I've been, you know, watching here and there, and nobody was showing it on the channel. Well, it wasn't until a few weeks ago I started seeing some of my American YouTube friends showing it on the channel, on their channels. And I thought, oh, finally, it's down in the States now. And what I can see is it's still not exactly the same as the Canadian version, because when I was doing a little bit of research, the packaging looks a little bit different. I'll put like the packaging of what the American one looks like, and it's a little bit, it does look different from this one. And also the shades are different. So I use the shade, my old one, I used to use C2, which was natural ivory. And then since then, I don't know, I think my skin has just changed a little bit. So it just wasn't matching my skin very well. So the one I have gone with is 2N Vanilla. You can see on here, 2N Vanilla. But when I go onto the Ulta website, because some of my friends were saying that they can only get it either at Amazon or Ulta. And that shade in particular that I have is called 2N Neutral Light. So I'm thinking that must be the same shade as that I'm wearing in the Canadian version. Anyhow, sorry, long story short, I can finally start using this again without getting, hopefully, a bunch of questions on it, because I think you guys can get it in the States. So you can see it's quite dirty. I use it a lot. It is a great foundation. It's one of my favorite foundations, and I use this on like a couple of times a week at least. So I was so happy that I could show this to you guys today. So this one does have just like a pump. I do prefer that. For this, I just take, I'm going to say like that much. It is a runnier formula, as you can see. And for this one, for whatever reason, I just prefer to use a sponge with this application. But like it claims, it is really super blendable. You can use probably just your fingers with this, but I just prefer to use a sponge. I'm going to do about that much. For me, on my skin, I found I preferred this new formula. I had a bunch of people saying that they actually didn't like the formula, that they still liked the old packaging and old formula. Some people said that they didn't really see a difference in it. Doesn't sink into my fine lines. I find this one gives really nice coverage. It's more, I'm gonna say, on the like a light to medium. I also like how it is fragrance free, alcohol free, and I can build it up. Like if I want a little bit more coverage for that day, I can build it up to more of like a medium. So I think they've done a nice job on the reformulation. Doesn't look like really dry or like ever cakey on my face. But that's why I like to use it with a sponge. I just find it blends a little bit easier. There, I'll come up a little bit closer, but see how it's a very nice coverage. I really like this one. Okay, so now that it's all blended in, you can see, now it's not, I'm going to say, the most like luminous looking or glowy kind of foundation. That's not what this type of foundation is. So if that's what you're looking for, you probably won't like it. It does dry down a little bit. That's the only thing that I find, but I don't mind that at all. But yeah, you can see, and then, you know what, when I was looking in the mirror, that primer, that's really blurring. Like, can you guys see right in here? Like, my pores do really look minimized in here. That's pretty good, because my pores are really large in here. Excellent. Thumbs up. Now, I'm going to try a new concealer. I really haven't heard much about this, but I saw it in a display in the store, so I thought, okay, well, it must be new because it's in a display. It's by Rimmel. It's called the Multitasker. I don't know, have you guys used this one? Because I really haven't heard much about it. It's supposed to be one of those concealers that you can use like for under your eyes, but you can also use it like for spot concealing on your face. I'm just going to show you. I have this in the shade. This is 30 Light. So it actually has quite a large like doe foot applicator. Like that's quite large. Now I hope this is the shade. There wasn't like a huge shade range for it. And I'm just going to use a little bit because I don't usually like to put a lot of concealer under there. So I'm just going to use a dot. So this is, it's really light. I don't know if I have the right shade, but oh well. I think I'm just going to use my fingers. That's how I usually apply concealer. Oh yeah, this is really light. Oh well, I'll make it work. I usually like to use a concealer that has like a little bit more blends in more with my foundation and my skin. That's the one thing about some of these drugstore products is they're quite affordable. So if I do kind of, you know, make a mistake that way, it's not like it cost me a lot of money. It is blending in like quite easily. So we'll see if it does any creasing. I just went ahead and used the concealer on my eyelids just to give it, just to prime them before the eyeshadow. So far, it's not doing any creasing. Like under my eyes, you can kind of see, like it's not doing any sort of creasing under there. The coverage is pretty decent. I'm going to say, well, it helps with having that color corrector underneath there. But the coverage is okay. It doesn't look, I'm going to say, overly drying at this point, but we'll see as the day wears on and how it looks. That's how I kind of gauge a concealer, is by the end of the night. If I look like the Crypt Keeper, you know, then it's not good for mature eyes. So we'll see how it goes with that. Off camera, I just went ahead and used some of my Buxom lip cream. Just my lips looked like really dry, so I just wanted to give them a little bit of moisture. We're going to go in with a eyeshadow palette that is not new, but it's new to me. It's the Milani, and this is called Partner in Crime. This is the most wanted eyeshadow palette. I've seen quite a few people of my YouTube friends using this palette. They said it's really one of those versatile palettes, some nice shades. We'll start off, I'm going to use my BK Beauty 202 brush. So they don't have individual like shade colors. I'm going to use that one there all over the lid. And I just take it right from the base of my eyelid right up into my brow area. Just like a nice wash of color. I'm not going to do too big of an eye look today, just really something basic. And then we're going to go in with this shade right here. It's kind of like a chocolate brown. And I'm going to go in with my Angie Hot and Flashy, the 504. This is just like a detailer type of brush. And that's all I want to do. I just want to put a tiny bit right on the outer V part, just to give it a little bit of definition. And then I'm going to run it right above my crease. I don't want to go right into my crease, but just right above it. See how it just kind of highlights that area up a little bit, gives a little bit of definition. Now I'm going to take that shade right here on the end. I'm just going to use my finger, just apply it on the inner part of my eye. Oh, that's very pretty. It's a nice little palette, like very like an everyday kind of palette. If you're just looking for something like really subtle, and it's, you know, fairly affordable. This wasn't like an expensive little palette, but it gets the job done. Nice little buttery, like a buttery formula, it feels like on my fingers. There, that's nice, I like that. So I'm just going to quickly go off camera. I'll apply my mascara and my eyelashes, and that sort of thing, and I will be back in a second. Sorry, one thing I wanted to show you before I go and do that, I totally forgot. Something I've been doing the last few months after I apply my eyeshadow, because I just want to give my eyes a little bit of a lifting effect. So I take my concealer and just kind of run it right at the corner of my eye to my the tail end of my eyebrow. And I take my sponge. You can use like a brush if you want to, like a really detailed type of brush, but I just prefer to use my sponge. And I blend it in so it goes up. And I find this just kind of cleans up if you do, like if your eyeshadow does come down a little bit. Like my eyes are starting to get a little bit of that droopiness happening. So I want that to have like a lifting effect. You can see how that, it does look like a little bit different, right? Like my eye does look a little bit more lifted, but just one of those little tricks that I've been doing lately. Just make sure to blend it out, like that concealer, make sure to blend it out. You can also use, like if you have like a cream colored, like a really blendable like eyeliner, you could use that as well, but I just prefer to use concealer. So off camera, I just went in, did some tight lining with my L'Oreal liner in the shade, I think this is the denim brown one. And then for my lower lash line, I went in with my Sephora 12-hour eyeliner in the shade Coconut. My favorite bottom eyeliner right now. It really does stay on the bottom waterline. I love it. Something I did want to show you before I do like my lower lash line, I just wanted to come a little bit closer and I'll show you how that concealer is working. So the good thing about the concealer is it's not doing any creasing. So I haven't touched it at all. Like you can kind of see, like there's no, like I don't have a lot of creasing in my bottom area, which I sometimes get with concealers. But the one thing that it's doing that I'm not a big fan of is it's giving me what I call little shark fins. So in the very corner of my eye, can you see how it's getting those little wrinkles right in the very corner? I have some concealers that do that, that can be a little bit drying. So that is my concern when I have a drying concealer, that they do that. So that's the only thing that's really kind of bothering me about this concealer. Otherwise, like a lot of my really like hydrating and moisturizing concealers don't give me those shark fins. It stays just like really plump all day. Not loving that part of the concealer. What I'm going to use on my lower lash line is the Urban Decay 24/7. This is the Glide On Eye Pencil. I have this in the shade Bourbon. I really do enjoy this color because it's not like a really dark color, but it's giving me enough of a definition on my eye that you can see that I have a little bit of something on the bottom of my eye, but it's not like a stark black. And I don't take it all the way like under my eye. I take it about halfway, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to smudge it out. But I am one of those people that I always have to have something on my lower lash line. That's just my look. I always have to have something, whether it's eyeshadow or eyeliner. And so then I'm taking the BK Beauty. This is the 210 brush. And I use this to just smudge out that line so it's not like a really harsh line. This does give you a little bit of time to work with it, but I'm going to say be a little bit quick if you do want to like smudge it out. See, that just looks a little bit more natural, not so harsh. So what I did before I put my lashes on, I used the Ilia mascara. I really enjoy this one. It's very like a clean formula, and when I go to remove it at the end of the night, it's one of those mascaras that just kind of comes off. It's not a tubing mascara, but it does come off very easily with just some soap and water, or like cleanser and water. And it's one of those mascaras that has like a two-sided brush. I don't usually put a lot of mascara on my bottom lash line because I don't want the darkness. I'm not sure if this is one of those known facts, but like using mascara on your lower lash line can sometimes emphasize your darkness under your eye. So that's why I just use a little bit. I don't use a lot, but I do like to have just the hairs show up. And this is the shade, just quickly swatched it for you. It's almost like a coppery chocolate color, so really enjoy that one. Next, we're going to go in with bronzer. So the one I'm using today, I haven't used it really in a really long time, so I thought I would show it today. It's not new, but it's by Milk Makeup, and it is the Bionic bronzer. I have this in the shade Time Travel. With this bronzer, make sure you give it like a really good shake because it can separate in the packaging. And that's it right there. So it's quite like a liquidy formula. And what I do is I usually take my sponge. This is like a very hydrating liquid bronzer. It is vegan. It has like hyaluronic acid in it, and it blends in quite nicely. It gives a really great sun-kissed look on my skin. So you can see how, like when I say it's liquidy, it's liquidy. So I take my sponge, ever so slightly I dab it on, and then I lightly apply it to my cheek area. You can use a brush if you want. I just prefer to use a sponge. I find it just diffuses the shade a little bit better and the product. And then what I do is I take the pointy end of the sponge, and I'm going to use that to do my forehead area and just contour along the hairline. But see how it almost like melts into the skin, but it's not too much. See how nice, and it just looks really natural. I love that bronzer. It's very nice. So for blush today, we're going to be going in with a new shade by Merit from their Flush Bomb blushes. And they were generous enough to send me in PR 2 new shades. So one is called Apres and one is called Stockholm. That's the shade Apres. Now it looks like, when you see it here, it looks like it's going to be quite dark. But that's the shade right there. Isn't that beautiful? It's a gorgeous pink. And this shade here is right here. It's more of a lighter, dusty rose. So I think the one we're going to go in with today is Stockholm. If you've ever used any of the Flush Bombs, they are like a really soft, buildable kind of blush. I have a couple of other shades, but these ones were their new ones. They also have one called Fox and Persimmon. So those are the two other shades. I'll put a picture of those here for you guys. The nice thing about these blushes, you can use them, like they're multi-purpose. You can use them on your cheeks, you can use them on your lips, you can use them on your eyes for like an eyeshadow to like have like one complete look. And what I'm going to be doing in the near future here is I'm going to have I have enough products now to do a whole complete Merit makeup, like a whole makeup tutorial on Merit. I really enjoy their products. They are so good. So I'm going to have that coming up in a future video. But I like using the product right on my cheek. So we're just going to go like this, give it a little bit of swipe. They're very, very pigmented. But the nice thing is that they blend in so, so good. So I'm just using the BK Beauty. This is the 108 brush. Let's see how it just blends in. And I mean, I'm putting like very little effort. The other thing that Merit does is with every, like one of their first purchases. So if you order something, your first purchase, you get one of their beautiful makeup bags. It's such a versatile bag. I use mine for traveling. And all their orders over $40, there's free shipping. Let's see, look at how easily that blended in. And this is like a really, really soft brush. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I'm loving the shade. That is gorgeous. That is so pretty. And it's not picking up like any of the other product that I have underneath, which is nice. Highlighter I'm going in with today. I've been obsessed with this highlighter since I first started using it like a few weeks back. It's the Rare Beauty. This is her Positive Light Silky Touch highlighter. I have this one in the shade Mesmerize. This one is like a rose gold kind of shade. Just absolutely stunning, stunning highlighter. It just melts into your skin, but it doesn't look like overdone. I'm just going to go in with my Rephr 35 brush. I've been really actually enjoying this one for using it for highlighter. It's very detailed and puts it exactly where I want it. But what I like about it is because it's such a silky formula, it doesn't creep up into my fine lines. Believe me, I've had some highlighters that just like accentuate every line up here, but this one does not do that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I love it. Love it, love it. And I'm just going to run a little bit up here on my brow bone. And I'm just going to do the inner corner of my eye as well. So what I use is just like this is a little concealer brush, but I use this to put highlighter in the inner corner of my eye. It's just very precise. And that just brightens the whole area up. You see how it just kind of gives it a little bit of life in that corner. And then it looked like L'Oreal had some new like lip shades. So this one I picked up it's like a very a slim kind of lipstick. This is the Color Rich, just as a shade 143 Le Mauve. But when I say slim, it's very, very slim. And then it has like a little etched symbol on the top there. I'm not going to use any lip liner. I just kind of want to see how precise this is. It's very creamy. It does kind of have that L'Oreal scent to it. You know how they have that lip scent? So when I just looked it up about this lipstick, I was curious to see like what's new about it. It's called the Color Rich Intense Volume Matte. It's a powdery matte lipstick. It's supposed to last up to 16 hours. It's infused with hyaluronic acid. It's supposed to keep lips looking plumper, fuller all day long. It has 75% carrying ingredients. It's a ultra thin texture to leave the lips hydrated and moisturized. It's supposed to be non-transfer, non-smudge, and non-drying. Well, that is a lot of claims for a lipstick. I do like the shade. The shade's very pretty. I like the mauve. And I will say it applied pretty well without even having lip liner on. So this is another product. I'll keep you guys updated in the description box if it lived up to the claims. I mean, that to say 16 hours, I mean, it's already, let's see, it's just before noon and I still have a bunch of stuff to do today. So I'm going to see how well this is going to wear. If you haven't already, I would love for you to consider subscribing to my channel. Make sure to hit that notification bell that's right beside this subscribe button. That way you're notified whenever I upload new videos. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. That also helps my channel out a lot. I will have everything linked and listed down below of all the products that I used today. And also as a reminder, I will also have any updates from any of the products that I was kind of testing out today. I'll have those updates in the description box down there as well. And as always, I hope everybody has a great week and a great life, and I'll see you all very soon in my next video. Bye!